Hey everyone, Steve Gonzer, physical therapist and founder of RunSmart Online. We're just going to be talking about overpronation a little bit and what happens as we overpronate. It's kind of a loose term that's thrown around a ton, and we really need to kind of delineate what's overpronation and how can you tell if you do that. The big thing is overpronation is very unique. It's subjective. There's no standard way to tell someone they overpronate because it's individual. It's individualized rather, and we all have varying amounts of pronation. We usually are set into classes where you have a high arch, low arch, or a neutral arch. There's going to be a different amount of available pronation for each of those runners. So just to say that we can umbrella term overpronation everyone is kind of a misnomer, and it's kind of an old way of doing things, I guess. So when we pronate, we've talked about this before, you hit on the outside border of your foot. Pronation is simply your foot contouring to the ground and absorbing shock. So we see this runner on the left hand, or on his left side, pronate to the ground and control that. So really what we're looking for, let's say you have, just for sake of argument, you have 15 degrees of pronation. We watch his left foot come in contact with the ground. He doesn't overpronate a ton. You're going to see something different on the other side. But let's say, for the sake of argument again, that he's using 5 degrees of pronation there. And you can see that he's not really cranking down through his ankle. We'll kind of show you the other side and you can see the difference between that. But let's say he uses 5 degrees. He still has a 10-degree buffer between what he's using and what's available. And this is what we're finding in the research is very important. How much of your buffer do you leave yourself? So there's muscles that control this. The foot and ankle has some muscles on the inside of the shin, your posterior tib muscle. Your knee needs to be stable, and you have your hip muscles up top that control this whole motion. So if you're weak, you can overpronate. If you toe out, you can overpronate. If you have a flat foot with poor control, you can overpronate. So there's other things that contribute to this. So we'll say he's got a 10-degree buffer there. It's just an arbitrary number I'm going to assign. But let's say, and I've seen him in the clinic, so I know he's symmetrical. He still has 15 degrees of pronation available. He hits on the outside border of his foot, and what you're going to see is he's going to collapse hard inward. Okay, so let's just zoom in on his foot and ankle. Now his midline's a little bit different. Whereas other side he was nice and straight, vertical up and down. Now he has this toeing in, not toeing in, but excessive pronation going down and in. It puts some strain on the inside part of the ankle, and some strain. This is huge for shin splints if you can't control through your posterior tib. So we said before he has 15 degrees, but let's say for, again, the sake of argument, he's using 10 degrees here. His buffer is now only 5 degrees between what he's using and what's available. As you pronate further, as you overpronate, due to weakness, or it really comes down to weakness if you overpronate, is because it's going to cause injuries rather. So look at the research in the article that's posted below. We can see many different things that can cause this, but strength is a big piece of this. So for a runner like this, he didn't have any pain at the start of this. He developed shin splints on his right side, but what we would do is you would work on strength, but in the meantime you would put a little wedge in there. You put a insert, a super feed, or something that can help him control, because his muscles obviously aren't strong enough. So as you're building strength and as he's building his strength up, we're going to put an insert in because we won't want him to get hurt. We want to keep him running. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase his strength and decrease his external support. The external support is going to come through an insert. So eventually it gets to the point where he doesn't need it anymore. His strength is good enough, and you remove that insert. So for this runner, we could easily put a insert on one side to help support that while he's improving his strength. And once his strength improves and we don't see this overpronation, you remove the insert, slowly wean him off of it, and the problem is solved. But too often we see this, or people think they see this, they'll throw an insert on both sides, they won't work on strength, they're just supporting a movement dysfunction instead of fixing the reason why it's there. So be aware, overpronation is way overdiagnosed. You see it with people who don't overpronate all the time, and this runner particularly fooled me. He did not overpronate on exam. I had to get him loaded and look at him running before I could tell. So just because someone watches you walk, or they look at your feet once and say, oh, you overpronate, you have flat feet, you need an insert, that is wrong. It's completely wrong. It's not the 1980s anymore. Don't buy into it. A flat-footed person If their feet are strong enough, if their hips are strong enough, do not need inserts. I have a dead flat foot, and I run it in neutral shoes, ultra marathons, everything. You need to have strong feet to support those flat feet, but don't buy into the hype that, oh, flat feet, you overpronate, or just someone blindly telling you overpronate. You need to look at the anatomy, you need to look at the movement, and you need to watch them either walk or run to determine that. Are you looking to become a stronger, faster, and more well-rounded runner? Then jump on over to runsmartonline.com and take our 10-day free challenge. Try our run-specific, time-saving, and easy-access videos that let you get stronger from anywhere, whether it be at work, home, or on the road.